Scenario: criminal science. What do crime scene investigators really do? Portland, Oregon, March 2024. A woman named Carla Reyes was found dead at the bottom of the stairs of her apartment. Her boyfriend told police he came home and found her there. An accident, presumably she had slipped. The first response police officers looked at the scene. They looked at the body. They agreed it looked like a fall. Then they called Maya Chen. 11 years as a crime scene investigator, Sai. She arrived with 2 boxes of equipment, a camera, and a kind of unsettling silence. She walked to the doorway, stood completely still, and stared at the stairs for 30 seconds. Then she said 4 words: "The stairs are wrong." No one in the room understood what she meant, and over the next 6 hours she would prove it with every photograph, every swab, and every measurement. So what does a real CSI do that a detective doesn't? And how can 4 words from a woman standing at the door send a man to 25 years in prison? First, let's break the television misconceptions. Most people think a CSI is basically a detective with better equipment, chasing suspects, making arrests, solving cases in a dramatic style. A real CSI doesn't do any of that. They don't carry guns, they don't interrogate suspects, they don't decide guilt or innocence. Their job is much more specific. They speak for the evidence. While a detective works with people, a CSI works with the physical world. Every stain, every thread, every footprint, every shadow of the files are deleted. Their entire purpose is to extract the story a crime scene is trying to tell, preserve it from distortion, and deliver it to the justice system in an unquestionable form. If a murder is a sentence, then the CSI is the one reading it aloud. Wearing protective gear, a step towards the truth. Before a CSI enters a crime scene, they will wear a full body protective suit, double gloves, shoe covers, and a hairnet. Remember the low-card principle? Every contact leaves a trace. A CSI entering a crime scene without proper protective gear becomes a source of cross-contamination. Their hair falls onto a surface. Their skin cells transfer to a doorknob. The treads of their shoes press against the killer's footprints. A historical example. In the O.J. Simpson case, forensic technicians collected blood samples from different areas of the crime scene without changing gloves between samples. That single mistake became one of the most devastating weapons the defense ever used. Blood evidence was never fully trusted again. In Portland, Maya Chen wore protective gear outside before stepping through the doorway. Rookie officers sometimes skip this step when a crime scene looks simple. Chen never did. Because how a crime scene looks and what that crime scene actually is are often 2 completely different things. She had noticed something about the stairwell wall, something that didn't fit her boyfriend's story. She wasn't ready to talk about it. She needed to document it first. Crime scene survey. Seeing the story before it's messed up. The first thing a CSI does inside a crime scene is do nothing. They walk slowly through each room, not touching anything, not collecting anything, just looking, building a complete mental map of the scene in its pristine state. This is called the initial crime scene survey, and it exists because once collection begins, the scene changes forever. You only have one chance to see it as the crime left it. During this phase, experienced CSIs often ask questions that might seem strange to an outsider. Is the TV on, and does that match what the witness said they were doing? Has the kitchen trash can been emptied recently, or is it suspiciously missing? Were the lights on in the room containing the body at a time when they shouldn't have been? The most important question is, what is missing that should be here? Because in forensic science, absence is evidence. An empty shelf, a charging cable with no phone, a wall with a faint rectangular mark where something had hung for years and had been quietly removed before the first 911 call was made. The secret from the bloodstain: Maya Chen noticed the bloodstain while surveying the scene. Specifically, she noticed where it appeared. Blood from a fall would flow downwards, pocketing at the lowest point under the influence of gravity. But the bloodstained splash on the stairwell wall was at shoulder level. That kind of pattern didn't come from a fall. It came from an impact. Someone had bled on that wall before they hit the floor. Carla Reyes hadn't fallen. She had been hit, then moved. Chen said nothing. She raised her camera. Photography. The most underestimated weapon in the CA's arsenal, a CSI's camera, isn't just for documenting. It's the first line of argument, a tool that will ultimately allow a prosecutor to show a jury exactly what Maya Chen saw standing in that hallway. Every crime scene is photographed in 3 precise layers. Wide shots capture the entire spatial context of each room, so a jury sitting in courtroom 6 months later can understand where everything is in relation to everything else. Mid-range shots capture relationships, body in relation to stairs, bloodstains in relation to the wall, furniture in relation to the impact area. Close-up shots capture the details of each individual piece of evidence. Always a ruler is placed next to each item so that the exact dimensions can be measured from the photograph itself. Chen photographed the staircase wall 3 times from different angles with varying lighting. The pattern of blood splatter was clearly visible under raking light, a technique where the light source is positioned almost parallel to the surface, creating small shadows that reveal texture and depth invisible under standard flash. What she captured rendered the theory of an accident impossible. The bloodstains were traveling horizontally, not downwards. Physics doesn't bend for a convenient story. She kept a log of each photograph, timestamped, geotagged, categorized. Then, she found something under the last step that no one had noticed: evidence gathering. Where science becomes precise after documentation, the gathering begins. And this is where a CSI's technical process becomes everything. A CSI isn't simply picking things up. Each item is approached through the same process: photographing the spot first, recording the exact location, collecting with the correct tools, packing in the correct container, sealing, labeling, and recording in the evidence preservation chain. The types of containers that are more important than most people realize: paper bags for biological evidence, blood, hair, tissue, because paper breathes, preventing moisture buildup that destroys DNA. Faraday bags for all digital equipment, signal blocking bags designed to prevent remote data deletion before forensic analysis can begin. Dental stone casts for footprint prints, a material poured directly into the footprint, capturing every ridge and abrasion pattern well enough to pinpoint the exact brand, style, and specific pair of shoes. Each different type of evidence requires entirely different expertise. A CSI must know them all. What Chen found under the last step was a small clump of carpet fibers caught on a protruding nail. It was the wrong color for the apartment's carpet. It was consistent with something or someone being dragged across that step. She photographed it, collected the pieces with a cotton swab, put them in a paper bag, labeled it, and recorded it in a logbook. 3 weeks later, the lab matched it to the carpet in her boyfriend's car. The evidence preservation chain, the invisible architecture of every case every time a piece of evidence changes hands, from the crime scene to the transporter, from the transporter to the lab's receiving desk, from the receiving desk to the analyst's desk, it is recorded in the logbook. Required information: name, badge number, time, reason for transfer, signature. This uninterrupted record is called the chain of custody, and it's the invisible architecture that keeps the entire case from collapsing. Science can be perfect. DNA matches can be 1 in 10 billion. But if a defense attorney finds an inexplicable gap, an hour during which no one can explain where the evidence went, they can stand before the jury and plant a single seed. We don't know who kept this or what they did with it. That seed in a proper trial will grow into reasonable doubt, and reasonable doubt will set people free, including the guilty. Maya Chen has been building her chain of custody since the moment she stepped out of her car. Every item is logged. Every transfer was signed. Every photograph was timestamped. By the time the case went to court, her documentation was 42 pages long, not because she was meticulous for the sake of meticulousness, but because she knew exactly what the defense attorney would be looking for, and she left nothing for them to look for. The boyfriend's lawyer spent 2 days trying to find a loophole, but failed. The courtroom, the final test for everything a CSI's work, ends where most people think it begins. In court. They go to court as expert witnesses, meaning, unlike a regular witness, they are allowed to offer expert interpretations. They can explain not only what they find, but also what it means. What does the pattern of bloodstains indicate about the victim's position? What do the fibers of the fabric suggest about the contact between 2 surfaces? What does the direction of footprints reveal about whether someone was walking or running? But expert testimony is only as powerful as the work behind it. Defense lawyers don't attack science, they attack process. Was every step documented? Was the evidence preservation chain interrupted? Was the photography performed in the correct sequence? Were all containers sealed before shipping? A CSI who followed every possible procedure could answer each of those questions with a simple, confident yes. Maya Chen testified for 2 days. Every photograph was documented. Every transfer was signed. Every measurement was accurate. The defense found no gaps, no shortcuts, no broken links. The bloodstains moved horizontally. Carpet fibers from her boyfriend's car touched Dina on a railing he claimed he never touched. Individually, each piece of evidence could be interpreted, but when put together, they cannot. The person the victim never met, Carla Reyes, never knew Maya Chen's name. She never knew that someone would stand at the door of her apartment 11 months after her death, staring at the staircase for 30 seconds, and know, before a single swab sample was taken, that the story being told that night was a lie. A crime scene investigator carries no gun. No arrests are made. There are no dramatic moments of confrontation with suspects. They enter spaces touched by violence or deliberate deception, and they refuse to let those spaces be silenced. They translate the language of blood, fabric, and footprints into something the courtroom can hear. They document obsessively, collect precisely, and testify truthfully. Because in a system where a person's freedom depends on evidence, the way the truth is found is just as important as the truth itself. Her boyfriend was convicted of second-degree murder, sentenced to 25 years in prison. He never confessed. He never changed his story. He didn't need to. The stairs already told the truth. He just forgot that the stairs could talk too.